Somehow, through the course of our day, Garett and I had switched places. My heaviness had given way to what, in my life, passes for understanding, and her nostalgia had become tinged with sadness.
Okay, there's a 9-second delay. The domestic terrorists are upstairs. This time they've got a male recruit, probably that officer that keeps driving over from their other base of domestic terrorist organization operations, i.e. the North Everett Precinct. It's currently 9:01 a.m. You're going to want and need to look inside of the description for this video, as well as to go to facebook.com/mysticwinlovesonlyyou, although the domestic terrorist organization pretending to be part of an operation that are not part of any legitimate and legal operation, but actually part of a criminal enterprise and domestic terrorist organization in Unit 207, who used to be officers, those who used to be officers. They're not officers. They've been marked as the domestic terrorists they are since their criminal actions met that threshold 5 months ago.
Build them up again. Check Twitter.
Actually, excuse me, 6 months ago.
Take them back down for good.
Again, it's 9:03 a.m. Saturday, February 15th. Again, it's 9:03 a.m. Saturday, February 15th. And the domestic terrorists upstairs that used to be officers are doing nothing other than further proving that they are going to prison for the rest of their lives. Domestic terrorists upstairs that used to be officers are doing nothing other than further proving that they are going to prison.
Heavyweight is hosted and produced by me, Jonathan Goldstein.
Now, if you don't hear an oral statement from me telling you the time that I'm ending the live stream and that a new one is initiating, the domestic terrorist, child abusing, stalking, hostage holding, thieving, fraudsters, and disgraces, the enemies of the state and the government and the city who have been paid by the city to be federal felons are not part of any legitimate operation. Never. For over 2 years, they've been part, in some instances, a domestic terrorist organization, an aggravated criminal conspiracy, and a criminal enterprise. Others didn't join that group until September. Others didn't join that group until September.
Hey, Alex. Do you need the studio? Yeah, just wrapping up. Get my stuff. Yeah, take it easy.
Testing, 1 2 1 2, testing. Hello and welcome to Startup. I'm Alex Bloomberg. Goldstein!
Horrible timing. 6 kids in my house, 2 parents, and getting kids ready for Halloween.
Jonathan Goldstein calling for Dr. Jackie Cohen.
I gotta go.
Wait. Hello? Jackie?
You know what?
Okay, you're a doctor, right?
Hurry up.
I'm starting to realize, like, in the past year, I'm
Hurry.
I'm pretty convinced
Hurry.
I'm losing hair.
You're bald.
Balding.
Bald.
It's a process.
So bald.
Now, I'm trying to figure out if it's a symptom of something.
I gotta go, John. I got to go to the party. Starts in 15 minutes.
You're having a party at your house? Why did you invite me over?
Do you want to just do the show? Or
From Gimlet Media, I'm Jonathan Goldstein, and this is Heavyweight. Today's episode, James.
And for those of you that are wondering, well, why would you say there's two women upstairs? The FBI is excited to imprison because, like I've been telling you, and they've been telling me, they are excited to put both of those women in prison. They weren't excited to put all of you in prison, but you keep doing what they tell you to.
Hitchcock,
and now you're going to prison.
James loved it. And when he grew older and finally got to see the actual movies, as good as they were, they often paled beside the versions his dad told. Something of a dreamer and an eccentric,
there is
Douglas
a hierarchy
lived his life
within
as
your
though he
domestic
himself
terrorist
were a character in the
organization.
movie. He
The
died that
FBI
day,
plans
too.
on, say it with
On
me,
his
quote,
deathbed, he issued
abdicating,
an unexpected
forcibly
final request.
removing
The request was that
people who had
scatter
perceived
his
positions
ashes
of power within the
on
North
the
Everett
18th
precinct,
hole of the golf course.
the dwindling Department of Child Abusers, the prosecutor's office as well. Forcibly removing,
Each of Douglas's
handcuffing
kids was
them,
handed
and
a
bringing
different
them to
task
their
regarding the
arraignment.
estate. James
That's what
was
that
put in
means.
charge of the ashes.
Federally
My
disbarring
dad
them.
was probably the most important person to me, outside obviously of my wife and kids. When he died and when the will was recorded, I wasn't there. You were actually there, I think.
I was there. Douglas was nearing the end and urgently needed to sign his will. And James, who lived out of town, couldn't make it in time. So he asked
And
me
then for those
and
of
our
you that are
other
like,
good friend,
what's with all
Howard,
this shit
to
that
go to
you've
his
been
father's
doing?
bedside
How
and bear
come you
legal
keep
witness
initiating
to
them
the signing
again?
of the will.
We thought we made it so you were
To
never
this
going to
day,
be able to
James still
initiate
carries
them
around
again.
a lot
What's
of
in
regret
lives?
about not being able to be there.
I'm following the FBI's instructions to the T. You kicked off
Although I
another
know it's
contingency
unlikely,
when you
my
prevented
memory
me
of that
from
day
sending
is
any
of Douglas wearing
offline
an ascot
recordings to the
tucked into his
FBI
hospital
this
robe.
morning.
Regardless of whether he actually was, Douglas was the kind of man who always gave the impression of wearing an ascot. As always, he was gentlemanly and cordial. This in spite of the fact that he would pass away within the next 48 hours. Douglas was born an illegitimate child in a poor part of England and raised by a single mom. As a young man, he felt judged and carried with him the feeling of always having to prove himself, even going so far as to affect a posh, upper-class accent. For Douglas, golf was the domain of the wealthy and sophisticated, and having his ashes placed on the 18th hole of his beloved golf course, an event that James says he probably envisioned being accompanied by bagpipes and artillery, would mean finally receiving his due. But James is yet to honor his father's request. It's now been 16 years. Is it just procrastination?
That's what I told myself.
Yeah.
I can vividly remember, a day afterwards thinking, oh, yeah, it's the simplest thing. In fact, it seems so simple that we'll get to it. And now, 16 years later, it's very complicated. I think, to be honest with you, there's part of me that wants to hold on to them because it's my dad.
And so the urn moved from mantles to closets. For a long time, it even knocked around in the trunk of James's car. It now sits on a shelf in his basement. Do you think would it be a load off your head if you were able to spread the ashes?
The amount of times I cried, going on about what a terrible son I was to not honor his request, and the guilt I have about the way he died, and I didn't deal with it well, and it's all a piece. As he got sicker and sicker, he wanted to go home desperately, and myself and my siblings decided he could not go home because he was a hoarder.
Though it wasn't clear that he ever used them, Douglas had an entire room filled solely with golf clubs. Having lived through the war, he also saved empty TV dinner trays, old microwaves, and broken radios that he'd find on the street.
We decided he could not go back there, and he was so upset about that, and he went out just really angry. He just wanted to go home. I can't fix the way he died, but this was his one request, and I haven't honored it. And not only would I be putting to bed something that's been just dogging me for years, I think I'd also feel pretty proud of myself that I'm the person I want to be.
Since the person I want to be is the person who helps people be the people they want to be, I asked James if he'd like me to help him lay his father's ashes to rest. And James said,
Yes.
would you want to do that?
Yeah, of course I do.
The objective, infiltrate Douglas's fancy old golf course and scatter the ashes. The obstacles, septuagenarian narcs with prying eyes, not to mention the fact that scattering earthly remains is against the law. For this to work, we need the right team. James was the key man, our entry point into the operation, and I was the bank, bankrolling the green for expenditures. All that was missing was a front man. We needed a person of quick wit.
Look at that, rough back, fat cat, sat, fat.
Someone cool under pressure.
What's the man?
We needed
That's why I'm here.
Howard.
Yes, I love Howard.
Not only was Howard our oldest friend, but he was there with me the day the will was signed and the directive was given. And to top it off, Howard never met a grift, swindle, or flim-flam he didn't think was eggs in the coffee okay. Fill your pockets with extra after-dinner mints at the local diner? Check. Avail yourself of ill-gained coffee refills through
Dude,
a
I gotta say,
counterfeit
that
Russian
is
seniors
something
card.
that like every
Double
guy
check.
that I have ever dated,
Howard was
except for
always
one,
up there.
does every
Not
fucking
for
time we
anything.
go somewhere with peppermint candies, dude. I date men who
date
steal
had
the
been
peppermint
set.
candies.
Sunday,
Okay,
which
you
also
know the
as
free
it
dish
happened,
at the
was
cash
Father's Day.
register. Nobody
The team
even
was in
likes
place.
peppermint.
We
Every
just
guy
needed
I
to
date,
sort
about
out
one,
logistics.
takes a handful of those and
Thursday,
shoves them in their pocket.
8:48 p.m.
I hate that shit.
Howard?
It's embarrassing.
Hey,
Hi.
hi, hi,
Hello.
hey,
I'm on the phone with James.
hi. Ooh.
I just wanted to get us all together to strategize a little bit. So, Howard, is there any wisdom or experience that you could bring to bear from, past things that you've done like this?
From my previous heist experience?
Yeah.
Well, we shouldn't do acid or get too high.
Yeah.
And that's number one.
Pay attention to this podcast, guys. This is Howard. He drops
So do you
words
want
of
to
wisdom,
try for
rewinding
experience
15
that you could
seconds.
bring to bear from, past things that you've done like this?
From my previous heist experience?
Yeah.
Well, hi. Ooh.
Team was in place. We just needed to sort out logistics. Thursday, 8:48 p.m. Howard?
Hey,
Hi.
hi, hi,
Hello.
hey,
I'm on the phone with James.
hi. Ooh.
I just wanted to get us all together to strategize a little bit. So, Howard, is there any wisdom or experience that you could bring to bear from, past things that you've done like this?
From my previous heist experience?
Yeah.
Well, we shouldn't do acid or get too high.
Yeah.
That's number one. Some booze maybe might help.
Some of you may be wondering, I wonder
So
if
do
she's
you
gonna
want to
ride
try
another police
to
report today.
go
Yes,
there and
motherfuckers.
play golf?
But right now is not the time. When I said
No,
you
I've
hit
never
another
golfed.
contingency when
I
you
don't know how to
prevented
golf,
me
so
from
I've
sending
never
those
golfed either.
offline
And
videos
it's
to
the
the
18th
FBI.
hole too,
I
so
mean, you added
I
like
wish it
way
was the
too much
first hole because
bullshit
we
that
could
I have
just
to
go
do
and
now
suck
today at certain times.
and then we do our thing.
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
You specifically need the 18th hole, right? 18th hole. It's the last hole. Yeah, but if there's someone there watching us, how do we do it? The clubhouse is near the 18th hole. It looks over the 18th hole, so that's another challenge. What's the clubhouse?
Clearly, there was a lot of work to be done. (9:32 p.m.) A quick look at the golf course website reveals a very specific dress code. Polo shirts, belts, golf shoes, something called a tilly hat. If wearing a polo shirt with some kind of bonnet wasn't embarrassing enough, the rules explicitly stated that all shirts were to be tucked in to your pants. For this to work, we need to honor the dress code to a T. In short, we need the best disguises money could buy. And as the bank, it was my job to secure the greenbacks. After a brief parley with Gimlet founder and CEO Alex Bloomberg, I'm told my budget is $50, to which I say, But I've already promised the crew I'd take them shopping at JCPenney, and now I'll look like an idiot. To which he says, what crew? And I say, never mind. Alex then tells me to take it up with Matt because he's in the middle of a boardroom meeting, but Matt scares me, so I just convert the green to Canadian traveler's checks. A safe, responsible move. So Alex, if you're listening, you should at least cover the service fees, except you probably aren't listening because you're too busy with your precious startup. So, although it probably wasn't the kind of establishment James's posh dad Douglas would approve of, we need to hit the only place we could afford.
All right.
Friday, 12:36 p.m. It turns out the sports section of a Goodwill can be a pretty sad place. Unstrung badminton rackets, waterlogged Nerf footballs you only hope are logged with water, and
one boxing glove. That's
As an advanced student of the heist film as genre, I know that when pulling off a big job, the perfect outfit is crucial. Think Michael Caine's Lux White turtleneck in The Italian Job, or Elliot Gould's neckerchief in Ocean's 11.
They have some very nice slacks here, I will say, and the prices are very affordable.
You want to try on the polo shirts?
Not exactly Frankie Muniz's wraparound shades and Agent Cody Banks, but it'll have to do.
look at these two. Ooh,
It's like rayon.
how soft this is.
The good news is that the Goodwill has changing rooms. The bad news is that there's only one, and it's about the size of a bus station toilet stall.
I'm going to come in with you.
But since we are A, a team, and B, absolutely fearless, together we cram in, and like any team would, strip, completely naked.
That might be the ugliest shirt I've ever
I
seen
kind of
in my
like
life.
it.
It bears mentioning that the shirt Howard is referring to is creamsicle orange and bears the logo of a plumbing company. And, luckiest of lucky days, he's found the exact same shirts for me and James. This way, he reasons, we can all match, like a crew.
It looks good.
Hell yeah.
You're supposed to look good. It's golfing.
Match. You're matching plumbing shirts.
Oh man.
Howard, James,
That's a
and I
great story.
have known each other since we're
Three
teenagers.
matching shirts?
Back then, we used to hang out like this all the time, just doing goofy stuff. But we now live in separate cities, with wives, kids, jobs, and we never get to do this kind of thing anymore. Standing around in the middle of the afternoon, laughing in the buff with old friends, feels nice.
Well, you older than
So this is good. We got shirts, and I got a belt.
As we exit into the parking lot, our plastic sacks plump with glad rags, something straight up magical happens.
Oh my god!
Before getting too excited about what we think we might be seeing, possibly, we wait confirmation from the man who can spot a con a mile off.
What is a double rainbow?
It's legit. A double rainbow. And even Howard's impressed.
Wow.
Mildly. And so James and I give ourselves over fully. Overcome by this fortuitous sign, the crew was moved to song.
Somewhere.
It was red and purple and crimson and green apple and...
A rainbow was a good omen, like James's dad Douglas was looking down on us and smiling a big multicolored upside down smile.
Pink and orange and blue.
Sure, we were dressed to the 18s, but if we each took 45 minutes to sink a ball from 2 feet away, we might attract suspicion. We needed to train hard. I'm talking Rocky, running through waist-high Russian snow hard. A montage of steel drum musicians learning to play Chariots of Fire set to the tune of Eye of the Tiger hard. I'm talking actually learning how to play golf. We find a driving range in the fancier part of town and book a golf pro by the name of Stephen. Saturday, 1 p.m.
Are you Stephen? Hey, Stephen, I'm Jonathan. This is Howard. And this is James. This is Stephen.
Stephen, a smile with more dimples than the golf balls he lovingly cradles. A tall drink of sports aqua velva eau de toilette if ever there was. Stephen's been golfing professionally for over 20 years and couldn't be nicer or better smelling. And considering the frantic barrage of imbecilic questions we ask, he also couldn't be more patient.
Question about those official golf shoes.
Yeah.
Well, I have one quick question. Let's do it. What would a golfer think about like Happy Gilmore, like a movie like that? They find it insulting.
After a brief lecture on the basic how-tos, hit ball with stick, hold stick with hands, get ball in hole, we're ready. We insist James go first. After all, this is his mission.
What we want to do is really finish it just like this, yeah? We're going to get to.
While Stephen tenderly positions James' hips and elbows, Howard grabs my microphone and golf commentates.
I'd say he looks really, really horrible. Just ridiculous looking. Not encouraging.
Somehow, James manages to connect on his very first try.
That's good.
Everyone's saying very encouraging things, but it's really horrible. Just to say.
But he got it. He went in the air and he hit it.
It's like you say to a child, good, you hit it.
Stephen looks over at Howard, who now squats in the grass, untying and retying his 2 left-footed Goodwill-issued golf shoes, and then he looks over at me, a grown man in a too large Tilly hat, strings cinched tight enough beneath the chin to ensure the clenched-jawed vocal affect of a young Katharine Hepburn. He waves us to come hither, offering up something in the way of inspiration.
I'm going to try to make it go from right to left. It must feel really good when you get it up in the air like that. Well, it's great because that's the goal, right? Is to get it up.
The golf ball flies straight up into the air, and then, as though eerily achieving human consciousness in mid-flight, suddenly takes a sharp left.
Ah, so cool!
Howard, baptized in the backsplash of Stephen's pheromones, is born again. He's seen the pinnacle of male perfection, and James it is not.
See, James, that's what it looks like. That's what when a man hits a golf ball, a male of the species hits a golf ball.
Next up is Howard. He steps to the tee, grips the club in just the way Stephen instructed, does this adorable waddle back and forth to get his footing just so. And then, did you hear that? Let me play it again. Thrice. A swing and a miss, a swing and a miss, a swing and a miss.
That's too much.
Okay, you're losing your balance. That's too fast. The first 25 years are tough.
Oh, Stephen. All this, and funny, too. My attempts were just as fruitless. As it turns out, golf is hard. We wonder if Douglas knew just how difficult a mission he'd sent us on.
How would we do without the golf pro standing there helping us?
You know the difference between golf clubs?
There's wet. No, I don't. Not really. I mean, I know
Wedge, driver, putter, 1 iron, 2 iron, 3 iron, putter, driver, putter.
1:39 a.m. It's the night before the job, and the reality of our situation begins to set in. How can any sting be stung when the would-be stingers absolutely stink at golf? Clearly, this plan wasn't going to work. And so, at 1:45 in the morning, panic set in.
It's impossible. It's impossible for us to play golf.
we would suck so hard.
Like, we would never make it off the first fucking hole, and if we knocked the balls anywhere,
I'm with you.
it's like learning how to fucking juggle. It's like it's an incredibly impossible thing
We
to
would
do. It's
suck
be
so
so
hard.
obvious. We would never make it off the first fucking hole. Never fucking golf.
Yeah, that's the issue. If we're doing any sort of subterfuge, we're going to be the most obvious, conspicuous people in the world.
Vicious.
And then we'll have to get all the way to the 18th hole. That takes hours. I mean, literally hours, even if you're good.
Literally, yeah.
And then try to get the ashes up. Forget it.
2:15 a.m.
Do you guys know what stomp rockets are?
Growing desperate, we chuck the old plan and begin to free associate new plans.
T-shirt, we need a T-shirt cannon. Well, actually, that could work.
3:05 a.m.
What if we dumped them into, say, like a balloon, and then filled it with water, and then whipped them so they would explode all on the 18th green, and that's it.
This was going nowhere, so I raised the possibility of our pulling off a night job. For those of you squares who need to be hep to it, that's a job one performs at night.
They might have dogs.
What if they think we're like terrorists or something?
Super, super posh, exclusive club going late at night with someone's human remains, which is fucking totally illegal.
Yeah, I mean, they must have some sort of security there.
Well, 100%.
The sun was coming up soon, so I suggest that, like in Dog Day Afternoon or Reservoir Dogs, or really any other movies about dogs that I've also not seen but can only assume have happy, heartwarming endings, maybe we just show up during the day and hope for the best. This idea,
Yeah, okay, that works for me.
they liked. After the break, the A-team of golf sets off on its mission.
Oh, I want to be Golf Lundgren, and you can be Mr. T.
T-E-E.
Right?
And what am I?
And you just know as Wedge. You know, you're Reginald Van Cleef. She was going to drink. Scotch, yeah?
Maybe.
On ice?
Sure. Thank you.
Sunday, 8:10 a.m. Father's Day arrives, a beautiful one in Montreal. James says it's a lot like the day Douglas died. We all rendezvous at the safe house, which also happens to be Howard's rec room. James has held on to his dad's urn for 16 years, but he's always kept it in the velvet bag it came with, so he's never actually handled it. Earlier in the day, though, in anticipation of the job, he withdrew it, and if there was any question about just how much Douglas loved golf, it was immediately answered by what was revealed. Etched into the side of the urn was a golfer in mid-swing.
Dear Steve, Dad.
So I'm taking some of Brucey's poop bags that are actually unscented, which is kind of nice. And we're going to use these to transfer some of James's beloved father's ashes into here.
Howard had the idea of using his pug's poop bags to separate the ashes into portions for each of us. His reasoning? Should one of us get pinched by some golf clubhouse Johnny Law, the two surviving members of the crew could still carry out the job.
Oh my God, this is so strange. Oh, what a business. I know, what a business. I hate that. What a business.
Well, I'm glad you got. I'm glad I've had a couple drinks, so they don't send them out. But I'm really glad you guys are doing this for me. Be part of this thing for 16 years. There was this sort of fear that I wouldn't be able to handle dealing with it, the physicality of it. But if there's something I'm now grateful for, and I wonder if there was some wisdom in it, is that he has compelled me to deal with this. I've never cursed him for it, but I've been angry. I've never been angry, but I've been, I don't know what the word is, sort of like, fuck, you couldn't just go without, you couldn't just die. You had to make this somewhat absurd, ridiculous request that was impractical and almost impossible to achieve. But I'm sitting right now kind of almost grateful for it. So let's hope we're successful today.
8:25 a.m. As we set off on the job, Howard shows doubts about his outfit.
I look like a fat failure of a dentist. I look like I lost my practice because I put dentures in a child's mouth.
As we near the golf course, James grows silent. On my apartment space. All right.
Good show.
How you feeling?
Nervous.
I'm going to park near here just for a quick getaway. From the parking lot, we wind our way towards the green. Maybe it's testament to a tilly hat cocked at just the right angle, but nobody seems to be stopping us. We have infiltrated.
Look how manicured it is. It looks like a pool table. Also, there's a pile of ashes there in the middle.
The golf course is what you'd expect.
It's like
Green grass as far as the eye can see, trees, ponds. It's beautiful. And under normal circumstances, it'd make us feel peaceful-like. But just now, it's making us feel out of place, reminding us of who we are. 3 frightened middle-aged men dressed in discarded plumbing company uniforms, struggling under the weight of our bulky knapsacks, and a mission that just now feels too big for us. I don't know, should we just try to go to the 18th hole, or should we go in and...
I believe that's it.
As it turns out, the 18th hole is the hole nearest the parking lot. That red flag right there is your destination.
Green of the 18th hole. that is it. It is the most conspicuous hole, so thanks a lot, Dad.
Right now, we're going to watch it.
Even now.
We decide to play it cool, case the joint. We make our way to the 9th hole, which is out of view. And
I
it's
think
here
now would be a good time
that
to
fear
remind
sets
you,
in.
stupid fucks, as
And
the
with it,
females upstairs
bargaining.
continue to attempt to terminate and
Ninth
erase
hole,
this
Dad.
live
Right
stream.
here, be perfect. I
That's
can go with
something
the
else
whole
the
arm
FBI
double.
has
Maybe
said
like
since
this
you
game.
began
You like the whole-
illegally
you like the whole
detaining
golf
me
course. It wasn't
and
his, but I
prior
know
to your
he'll go back
actionable
now.
kidnappings.
Next, denial.
Then I'll be running a
Dad,
YouTube live
who's
stream
an
here
avid
in the
golfer who's
basement
probably
when
really,
you're
really serious about the
detained.
game. Why would he want to put this actually on the green, which would interfere with other golfers?
I suggest we cool our heels in the clubhouse, and the boys agree. It turns out that that evening is a Father's Day banquet, so the staff is rushing to prepare, which allows us to wander around relatively unnoticed. The club goes back about 100 years, and on the walls are hung old brown and white photos and plaques commemorating the members who've died fighting.
And then
in both
just a
world
reminder,
wars.
everything
Since
that has
almost the
happened
start of
this
our
morning
mission, James had expressed a fear that
was
maybe
per
no one
the
at the club
FBI's
would even
instructions.
remember his dad.
Is it possible they're
Douglas
baiting
was just
you?
such a loner that over the
Absolutely.
years, James had never met any of
I'm
his
fairly
friends.
confident with the
As far
weird
as he
level
knew,
of
he didn't
instructions
really
I
have
was
any.
given.
There was a lot about his dad
That's
he
the
didn't
only
know,
thing that's happening.
like whether he was even any good at golf. So he was hoping he might find some small trace of him here, a photo, or even his name on a list somewhere.
Oh, the registry.
We find a large old-looking book that lists every champion in the course's history. Wow, it goes back to 1903.
I mean, I'm sure he's probably documented in some book somewhere. It's just a question of finding it.
Do you want to check that book? Did you look through all those?
Yeah, I didn't see anything there.
Since the book won't talk, we look for someone who will. We stop every staff member and golfer who looks old enough and ask if they remember Douglas.
The search past 2000. Okay. We're hoping to find some sort of sign of him, but name doesn't ring a bell. Douglas Hurst, long time ago.
Trying to find people who remember Douglas Hurst. And look, I play at 6 a.m, so the only guys I know are the grass parents. I didn't know.
No dice. Until
Doug Hurst, you guys knew him? Sure. That's his son right here.
in a basement room squeezed into an armchair, watching golf on TV, is Serge. A French-Canadian bulldog of a man, he pours fistfuls of mixed nuts into his mouth, which he washes down with generous slugs from his beer.
Crazy dog. That's you.
Through the half jar of fancy cocktail nuts crammed into his grizzled maw, you might.
The Chain of Fools, Aretha. I dedicate this to those of you in the domestic terrorist organization upstairs that continue to tell yourself that your career, your reputation is more important than accountability for the destruction and crimes you've perpetrated. Literally, the fact that some of you have vaginas who've been involved in the abuse of my sons, the indoctrination of my sons, the facilitation of my sons perpetrating felonies for you, the kidnappings of my sons, and the fact that all of you believe that you have stellar reputations, that you're good looking, and that you're so good at your job that everything you've done is acceptable when you know that everything you've done is criminal. And every officer that's going to lose their job because of you and their own stupidity in following your guys' directives, I hope they all personally sue you, because that's something you may not know, everybody. All of you that are going to prison, although it's no criminal defense that you followed their instructions and their fraudulent documents, you are able to sue them civilly, and you should, for all of their money. After the FBI arraigns them, you should have an ample amount of evidence to do that. Remember, all of you that have been sent to my door, you are not liked by these people that keep squawking at you and pretending like you're a team and it's all about your people. No, it's all about like 3 individuals, and all of you others are going to prison still because you've been doing what they told you to do. And they knew that the whole time since the first couple of people you sent to my door in August. Everyone sent to my door. You are not liked. You were chosen to befall people, to lose your careers, to go bankrupt, and to go to prison for like 3 individuals. And now there's like 10 individuals at last count for the FBI. So I dedicate this to all of you. That's the sound.
That's a sound of pain. Change, 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 the chain of food. Oh,
I told you, do not be fooled. And then what you guys do? You went and you were fooled. Well, remember, according to the FBI, some of you have been blowing the whistle over the last few days of crazy criminality. And those of you that have been doing that independently for the FBI, you're in good standing as far as the FBI is concerned. That was as of last night. That may have changed this morning. I know you preventing me from sending those offline videos and corrupting them and whatnot to the FBI and the sheriffs was a big no-no. Big no-no.
Change, change, change,
The chain of food.
you got me where you want me. I ain't nothing but your food. You treated me mean. Oh, you treated me cruel.
It's a cycle of subterfuge. That's what the FBI called it. They told you guys were in a downward spiral. Rapidly approaching the finish line, which is full accountability under the federal and state laws. You fucked over. Change, 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 the chain of food.
Strong. I'm in it too.
play more music, but it's too risky since we know that in the last 15 days they filed fraudulent copyright claims and then prevented me from being able to remove or replace those songs via the YouTube interface and whatnot to try and make videos not accessible. Also, just a little heads up, a lot of you have engaged in criminal actions, not even knowing why, thinking you were doing it because of X, Y, and Z, but really you were doing it because of A, B, and C, i.e., again, those few people, the very person that was proclaiming in November, only our people matter, that person really was saying only she matters. And of course, mini-me as well.
You might not be able to understand the word Serge is desperately trying to choke out. He's saying, Crazy Doug. Crazy Doug is his nickname for James's dad.
Oh, I'm so glad I found someone who remembered him. We asked a few people, and not too many people remembered him.
Help me find maybe a staff member who'd been here a while that no one knew.
You people. I'm so glad.
Know him very well.
So was he a good golf player? Was he good?
He was a good golfer. Yeah, he was like, what was it, 8 or 9 handicap. Okay. Oh, that's very good.
He was very good. Okay.
This is like the top 5% of all the golfers in the world.
So he was very good.
He was very good.
And he was dedicated. The room full of golf clubs that James had thought was garbage, Serge spoke of it with respect. He called it the largest, most complete collection of golf clubs in all of Canada. You never want to hear someone refer to a person you love by a pet name prefixed by the word crazy. But the benefit is that when they tell you stuff about your dad, you know they're being honest. So when Serge says what he says next, James knows he can believe him.
I don't think I have ever met somebody as brilliant as your dad. The level of depth of knowledge about everything. But on the other side, he was also very, I would not say shy.
Isolated, like
Exactly. Yeah. Could play alone. We saw him very rarely in the clubhouse.
I think it was because he was a bit of a loner. But he did love people, and he loved the people here, and he did love all his friends here. But he really loved to come at 6 in the morning, just do his thing. That was very my father. That's what my mother used to say to me. Very my father. It's not that he didn't like people. He just liked to do things at his speed, his way, and be done. Because he was sort of a loner. He was a loner. He was my father.
You're the son of your father.
And with that, it's time for James to become the son his father had asked him to be, and do the job we came for.
We're just walking around. We're members.
We head back outside and walk with purpose to the 18th hole. As fate would have it, the coast is clear.
Actually, James,
Right up. Let's put on your head right there. Here. Just kind of put on this. Yeah, tie your shoe. Tie your shoe. It's up for you right now. Let's walk with him.
With Howard on his left and me on his right, we walk James out to the green, doing our best to protect him from view.
Yeah. We're walking with you. Say something, maybe. Say something in my head.
you want to say something in your head?
Yeah, I'm just saying something in my head. Oh, we're actually doing this. This is incredible because you're actually doing it right now. This is actually happening. He's actually putting his dad's ashes right on the 18th hole, just like he wanted. We didn't think this would be possible, actually. James just had he just dumped it right into the 18th hole, very discreetly.
Right.
I got it right in the hole.
That felt really good.
I'm really glad.
Right in the hole.
Exactly.
I feel great. I feel awesome.
Howard and I are feeling pretty good too. This is the last time James would ever get to do something his dad had asked him to do, and we're proud to be a small part of it. We put our arms around our friend's neck and pat his back.
Okay, well, you got back home.
That's incredible.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. That worked out perfectly.
And James is right. It has kind of worked out perfectly. Sure, unlike the end of heist films like Reservoir Dogs, We weren't sipping drinks from a coconut on a beautiful beach, but James had become the person he wanted to be, and I had become the person who helped him become the person he wanted to be. And Howard, well, he'd become the person who fills up a dog poop bag with free golf clubhouse dinner minutes. So all in all, it was a happy ending.
Thank you guys for doing this.
James had a fistful of his father's ashes in his head, and he walked onto that green like a dawn, bent down to one knee, tipped his hat, and just dumped it right into the hole, like clean, right in the hole. That was a hole in one. That's what I would say.
Now that the furniture's returned to its goodwill home.
Oh, time for my breakfast of some more popcorn. Time for my breakfast because of the domestic tears. Half a bag of popcorn I made yesterday.
俺、やりもしないで諦めるの嫌いなんです。それよりやった方がいいじゃないですか。どうせやるなら楽しいことがいいし。
それは例えばどんなこと？
何でもいいですよ。本人がやりがいを感じるから。
犯罪でもいいってことかな。
俺そこまで言ってないですよ。ひどい時です。
悪い悪い。
俺にもやっていいことと悪いことの区別くらいつきます。
へえ、あ、そうか、モラルあるんだ。
はい。信じてもらえないと思うけど、俺には俺のモラルがあります。でも、刑事さんがそれを理解するのは難しいかもしれませんね。
そうか。残念だな。
ねえ、おまわりさん。タバコ一本もらえません。
何言ってんだ。ダメに決まってんだろ。
1週間も吸ってないんですよ。
高倉さん、今から松岡を拘置所に移送します。
もう少し彼と話がしたい。
無理です。彼の身柄も検察の手に渡りました。
野上、彼は完璧なサイコパスだ。あんな貴重なサンプルはめったにお目にかかれるもんじゃない。
8人を殺してるんですよ。自分には単なるバカとしか思えませんが。
なあ、頼むよ。あと1日。彼に聞いてみたいことが山ほどあるんだ。
警
してるんだ。ダメ。その人を話しなさい。おい、俺が説得する。
刑事さん、さっきはどうも。
松岡君、その行為が無駄じゃないかな。こっからは絶対に逃げらんないんだから。
そうかな。やってみなきゃわかりませんよ。
野上、やめろ。よく考えて。今君は絶対的な力を握ってるよね。全てが君の思うがままだ。でもその人を傷つけたら、せっかく握った力を使い果たすことになるんじゃないかな。君にもモラルがあるんだろ。それこっちに。
そうやってこれを奪うつもりです。
そんなことは絶対にしないよ。
じゃあ、ここで後ろ向けますか？
向けるよ。
どうですか？
俺も。
千葉君さん、大丈夫ですか？
やすと、これ台所なんだっけ？
あ、そこに置いといて。
マックス外に繋いでおこうか。よーし。お前今日から外だぞ。何年ぶりかな。こんなにのんびりした時間。
そうね。
やっぱり平和が一番だな。
警察辞めてよかったでしょ？
ああ。
大学の方は順調？
それがさ、結構面白いんだよ。学生と話してると。俺案外向いてるのかもな、大学の先生。
安心した。
さてと、残りやっちゃうか。
日が暮れる前にこれ。
なんだっけ？
お隣への挨拶。
Never forget, people. The first time the Japanese saw a white man, it was the status quo in Europe for white people to take a bath once a year. The Japanese, they've been bathing every day for hundreds of years longer than white people. And the Japanese were like, ew. And then the white people were like, we're the bosses. And then the Japanese were like, no, you're not the bosses. You're dirty and smelly. And now we're not letting anybody come to our country.
She thinks her flaky gray
End of
patches are all
discussion.
people see.
I'm very Japanese at heart.
Otezla is the #1 prescribed pill to treat plaque psoriasis. Otezla can help you get clearer skin and reduce itching and flaking. Doctors have been prescribing Otezla for over a decade. Otezla is also approved to treat psoriatic arthritis.